Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you are doing great. So, a white farmer who is affected by this present regime and their policies is actually out there screaming for unity. And I don't know who he is planning to call or who is calling for unity because I am sure he won't be calling my people. And moreover, other people are running away from ICE. So, who is he calling for unity? And he also tried gaslighting himself, saying that this is just a time, right, for everybody to come together instead of looking for a way to blame people. It means he has been voting for Republican all this while, and he also voted this time around. I am going to say this, and this is where I stand. If this man had escaped this, like let's assume that the fund he was looking for, he got the fund, and maybe people that look like me are trying to protest against police brutality. 100% sure this man will not come out to help other people to protest. And now he is saying that this is a time for unity. I mean, like, let's come, according to him, let's come together and look for a way to end. You and who? We who, and what? Now, I think this is just a perfect time for everybody to carry their cross. Why am I saying this? I am saying this because Black people have their own cross that they are carrying, and including other people. So, looking for a way to call for unity is something that is not going to work. You will stay till the regime finishes. Nobody is having any conversation till the next election period. Let's get into this video.
I might lose my farm because of the government. I got in
What? How?
program out there called the Equip program. And what the Equip program is it's cost sharing on stuff like fencing, different seedings, water lines, waters, wells, and stuff like that to better conserve farmland for agriculture use. So I thought it was a great program.
It sounds like a great program. Tell me more.
Equip program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act.
Oh, the Inflation Reduction Act put in place by the Biden administration? Amazing program, right? One that you wanted to take part in. Okay.
Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward.
Executive order? Funding freeze? Oh, the one Trump signed in. Oh, okay. I'm listening.
But the issue I have is I've already done a bunch of the work, already paid for the material, already paid for the labor, so I'm out all that cost, and I use my farm operating expenses in order to do those projects, because per contract, I knew that I was going to get cost sharing refunds on the stuff once completed, but now that it's completed, they're saying that they're unable to provide the funds because of the freeze on the Inflation Reduction Act funds. So I reached out to a couple different senators and Congress people. So I reached out to Ann Wagner's office. I have not heard back from them. I reached out to Josh Hawley's office. I have heard back from him, not from him personally, but from his office. And they are looking into it because they said that this should not be happening. The intention was not to take away the funding from the farmers, but doing the Inflation Reduction Act, cutting those costs, then it's also taken away from the programs that those programs helped out. So,
Okay. Real quick though, who did you vote for?
by saying I did vote for Donald Trump. And just because I voted for Donald Trump doesn't mean I believe in everything that he stands for.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You participated in a program that was created by the previous administration, a program that you need to keep your farm alive and well. And then you went and voted for a man who was very clear that he was going to cut these programs. But you didn't know, you weren't aware that you fell under these programs that were going to be cut. So when you say that I don't agree with everything he does, you don't agree with the things that affect you, because deportation, getting rid of the rights of trans people, getting rid of same-sex marriage, getting rid of the Department of Education, getting rid of and fucking up quite literally anything that had nothing to do with you was okay. But now that it's touched you, you want to do what?
Stands for. And I don't understand how you guys are Everybody's at each other's throats in America. It's me versus you instead of us versus them. And that's where we need to get together as Americans and actually get on the same page and actually stand together and unite and fix some of these issues. There's a lot.
See, the thing is, people have tried. We have tried till we're quite literally blue in the face. But y'all hatred runs so deep, so deep. The idea of having a woman, and a black woman at that, sitting at the head of the table was such a non-starter for y'all that now those who can't hear must feel it. That is all.
I might lose my farm because of the government. I got in bed with the government. I was promoting getting in bed with the government because I thought it was a good idea. I wanted to start off by saying I did vote for Donald Trump.
Hey, buddy, this is how democracy works, right? You get what you voted for, just like those firefighters in Utah. You get what you vote for, right? Don't cry now. Don't get a case. He goes on to say, oh, he's probably about to lose his farm because, you know, their executive order, who he never blamed in his first video. He said the government. No, nigga, it's Trump. Okay. That's what I was like. None of this makes sense. The very people, Biden, and matter of fact, Kamala, is the one who casted the tie-breaking vote to allow the Inflation Reduction Act to go through, which allowed that farmer to go and get the $200-something, almost $300,000 contract so he could do his farm. The very people that gave it to him, who passed it so he could benefit from it, he then ran the very next election cycle and voted against those people that put money in his fucking pocket. Life-changing money. He went and voted against his own best interest, let me guess, because I'm sure he's pro-life and he doesn't like pronouns. Fuck the fact that you got life-changing money put in your pocket through a government contract. An opportunity you probably would have likely never gotten. Because you didn't want somebody to be called a he, she, they, we. And this is the shit I be talking about. Because now that it's touched you, now that you are about to lose your farm, now that your family is impacted, now that your children's food is being impacted and taken off the table, now you want unity. Now you want us to come together and disrupt the corruption within the government. When this man told you he was gonna do that shit from day one. He literally said he was going to get rid of damn near everything that they did. Obama, which was almost a fucking decade ago plus, and Biden and Harris did. He said he was going to do it. So don't act shocked and confused and want us to join hands and fight you together. No, because when we were telling y'all, it was, oh, go cry, you stupid libs. Go cry, you Dems. Even though I don't identify with either side, I'm an independent. I'm a free thinker. I vote for my best interest and the interest of the people. This is called accountability. You go, you make stupid decisions, and you make dumb things happen, and now you have to face the music. It's not oopsies. You know, white people love oopsies. You do stupid shit, oopsies. No, that's not how this works. You don't get the respawn. You don't go to the gulag and come back, okay? This is real life where your actions have real life consequences. The problem is you didn't think it was going to touch you. You thought it was just going to touch the black people, the Hispanic people, the DEI. Not understanding that the fact that you were able to get access to that contract was a beneficiary of DEI. See, but when you so worried about dog whistle words and not things that actually matter and understand what those words and those things and those policies actually mean, and you listen to dog whistle words from Fox News, that's what happens. But hey, bro, how much, let me know when you put that farm up. You know, I'm looking to buy me some land because, you know, I'm trying to give me a little bit, you feel me? Let me get some of them cows up out you, big dog. Because this is exactly what they want to do. They want to dismantle the small farmers, the working class, the little people, so that private equity can come in when you have to sell your fucking farm and you have to get rid of it.
I don't know if y'all are on Farm Talk like I am, but did y'all see the video of that young farmer, Skylar, who voted for Trump and now is in danger of losing his family farm because Trump is going to enact the policies that he promised to enact. And Skyler and his family farm are getting screwed in the process. If you haven't seen it, he's made a few videos because he got pretty defensive when folks in the comments on his first video were like, fuck around and find out. Oh, isn't this what you voted for? Did you not research the candidate and his policies before you decided to vote for him? I believe for the third time. This is the third time he's voted for Trump.
Serve any help? I hope you lose your farm. How much you selling it for? All those comments, that's super helpful. You think that you're not helping and you think that it's funny, but you commenting boosts the post, and I'm getting more views, therefore it is helping me.
Is it saving your farm?
It's kind of a double-edged sword there. You think you're getting your point across, but in reality, you're actually helping me. But
really,
I wanted to start off by saying I did vote for Donald Trump.
3 times.
Just because I voted for Donald Trump doesn't mean I believe in everything that he stands for. And that everybody has to understand that. Just because you vote one way doesn't mean you agree with everything that that party stands for.
Now, I'm a big proponent of supporting small family farms, supporting local sustainable agriculture. But son, I am struggling to have sympathy for you, a cis-het white dude who owns a farm in Missouri, for voting for Donald Trump. You are the demographic that deserves to feel the pinch, deserves to feel the consequences of your actions. The folks who are going to suffer the most, as I have said, the folks who are at risk of losing their lives, their livelihoods, their homes, their well-being, their futures, those folks, by and large, are the folks who did not vote for this regime. But you did. You chose this. And son, I know in this defensive follow-up video, you're like, oh, joke's on you guys because I'm getting mad views on my original video. Cool. Is that somehow stopping the Trump administration from enacting Project 2025? Is that going to save your farm? Are you going to get water to your cattle now? Like, great for you if you're going to make a couple $100 off that video. It doesn't change the regime that you actively supported. That has come to power and is doing all of the things that they promised they would do. Now, you said in the comments of your video that you were too busy to really dig into all of Trump's plans. You didn't have the time to research. But I'm sorry, you are a grown-ass man. You are a whole adult, and it is incumbent upon you to do due diligence and do research before you decide to vote for a candidate. You don't get to play, oh, poor little me, I was ignorant, I didn't know what I was voting for. You don't get to play that game. You are a grown-up. You own a farm, and you couldn't bother to read the section on agriculture in Project 2025? I cover sustainable agriculture for my business, but I don't have a farm, and I had the time to read up on it. I made it a priority. It's wild to me that you as a farmer did not, and now you want to say, this isn't my fault, guys, I just didn't know. No, what you thought is the parts of Trump's platform of Project 2025 that you liked, like deporting brown people, like removing women's access to reproductive health care, like taking away free and reduced lunch for poor kids, restricting Medicaid, food stamps, WIC, which is weird because as a farmer, you should know how many of those programs are linked to agricultural subsidies. I mean, WIC is basically one of the biggest ag subsidies in the country. You honed in on all the things on Trump's platform that were going to get you what you wanted, but you didn't even bother. You were too busy to do the due diligence of reading through the parts of his policies. Project 2025 has been published on the internet for a long time now. You could have gone and said, as a small business owner, as a family farmer, my legacy, my business is super important to me and my family. I should probably read what's in this document about ag. Should maybe investigate before I decide to vote for this man for president. I should probably investigate if his policies might have a negative impact on my farm. But you didn't, and now you're crying on the internet about it. It's sad. It's devastating what is going to happen to family farmers. But it's real weird that y'all can't remember. Your memory is so short. Trump's first administration, farmers all over the country went out of business. Ask any soybean farmer from his first administration what that was like for them. Oh, wait, you can't, because a lot of those small farms are now out of business. There are a whole lot of small farmers crying on the internet. And actually, in his last campaign, there were farmers coming to him and being like, you're going to prioritize family farms, right? And of course, he lied and said yes. But if you look at his track record, who are the only entities that he has an interest in enriching and supporting and making more secure? Giant corporations. He wants to drive family farmers out of business so that you sell your land and your business to big ag. He only cares about big ag, not about you. I mean, he actually only cares about consolidating his power, and he will pander to your pet issues, whatever your conservative religious values are, whatever racism you have. He'll put all of that in there to get your loyalty, but you didn't bother to read the fine print, and it's not even fine print. This was all there out in the open for you to read before the election, but you chose not to. You chose not to, and that is on you, a grown-up. It's like who you vote for has consequences, not just for the immigrants in your community, but also for you and your business. And I would just really encourage you to do a little introspecting. First off, read up on what's going to happen for family farms all over the country, because it's not going to be good. Just like last time he was in office, it was not good. But this is a great time for you and other white dudes around the country to introspect and figure out why it is that you wanted to support Trump more than you wanted to protect your own business. Why is it that you were so easily convinced to vote for him against your own best interest? It's not a time to be defensive. It's a time to say, shit, I done fucked up. This is not good for me and my family. It's not going to be good for my community of farmers. It's not going to be good for the country. For folks who might think Skylar's case is unique, or Skylar, if you don't follow Will yet already, y'all should watch this.
Last night I watched video after video of farmers who might lose their farms because the government is reneging on contracts they wrote with these farmers. Hi guys, my name's Will, your favorite rural campaign and elections expert, and let's talk about it. Now the problem is President Trump's order to freeze most federal grants and loans has created a panic and uncertainty within the agricultural sector, which relies on billions of dollars in direct government assistance for loans, disaster relief, and conservation practices, many of which have been around since the days of FDR, and farmers have begun to rely on them. Now, if you've watched the news at all, you know that a federal judge blocked the order on Tuesday. The problem is, and what the media isn't telling you, is that farmers and ranchers over the last week to 10 days have begun to receive letters telling them that the government may not be able to live up to the promises they made in these signed contracts with farmers and ranchers to improve conservation and increase productivity on the farm. Sadly, I watched one cattle farmer video last night in the state of Missouri where he said that he's going to fall $80,000 short in funding because the government promised him that if he and his family invested in good conservation practices, they would support his efforts with grants and loans. He received a letter in the past 10 days telling him that they couldn't keep their promise even though they have a signed contract. And as a direct result, he's going to fall $80,000 short on his spring loan payment. And the only option he has right now is to sell his cattle. And he needs those cattle because those cattle are going to have calves, and he needs those calves to pay his fall payment. It's a no-win situation, and it's not his fault.
If you want your finger on the pulse of rural farm news in America, you need to follow Will. I agree with everything he's saying, except I disagree. I disagree that it's not the fault of the farmers who voted for this. Y'all didn't want socialism. Guess what subsidies for farmers are? Y'all wanted to gut wasteful spending. Y'all didn't want environmental protections. Guess where that grant money comes from for improvements to your farm that help reduce erosion, reduce runoff, improve the environment? You just handed over the keys to the kingdom to Elon Musk to gut the shit out of all of that stuff. And as I said before, this is not a time to be defensive. This is a time to say, we need to save our farms. This is a time to say, we screwed up. We should not have voted for Trump. And we definitely did not vote for Elon Musk. So Skylar, I hope you will take the harsh criticism because people are rightly angry. Your vote contributed to the mess that we're all in now, including you and your farm. But it's not too late for you and any other Trumper farmers to realize that you voted for a man who does not have the best interest of working class Americans at heart. And Skylar, in your latest video, you said we all need to work together to fight corruption. I'm not sure what you meant by that, but I agree. It is time to realize that the working class needs to come together. That right now, an unelected billionaire is gutting the programs that you depend on, that millions and millions of working class folks need to operate their businesses. And he's doing it in order to give himself a giant tax break. So if you want to talk about cutting corruption, so it's not too late to stand up for our democracy, to realize what Elon Musk is doing is illegal, harming the country, harming every working class person, is in violation of the Constitution. So it doesn't matter if you voted for Trump. It's not too late for you to join the party and realize what Musk is doing is unconstitutional. illegal, and you have an obligation to speak up against it for the sake of your farm, for the sake of our democracy, for the sake of our nation.
I might lose my farm because of the government. NRCS, conservation planning, cost sharing on stuff like fencing, different seedings, water lines, better conserve farmland for agricultural use. They called me today and said, hey, I know we have this signed contract. We're reneging on it. We're not going to pay out on it. I'm just screwed. And unless they lift this pause on payment, I'm going to lose this farm.
This is the plan. This was the plan the entire time. Donald Trump comes in, starts ripping cords out of the wall for how government works, from the Department of Defense down to USDA, down to USAID, and then everything starts acting funny. Payments stop. You can't get a hold of people. Whatever. And then you blame the government. I wonder if anybody in Missouri or Iowa or Nebraska or Oklahoma or any other major part of farm country bothered to read the Darren Baxt written Department of Agriculture section of Project 2025, because this is exactly what they said they'd do. The agriculture part of Project 2025 calls out NRCS by name, calls out any and all conservation programs by name, and says they're gone by any means necessary. And that's just the beginning. Did you know they're going to try to go after the Farm Bill to decouple nutrition programs from farm support programs so they can go after them individually? My brother in Christ, you are 2 steps behind. While you're on the phone with NRCS trying to figure out what to do about your well money, you better start making calls to your insurance agent, because they're coming after crop insurance next. I will never in a million years understand why farm country overwhelmingly voted for a man who was promising to screw you over. I hope y'all make it, and for Christ's sake, I hope you do better next time, if there's a next time.
I might lose my farm because of the government.
Oh no. Who's to blame?
So they had a program out there called the Pe0ple program to better conserve farmland for agricultural use. We got a contract with them for $240,000, and we have bought different types of material. We've gotten paid out on some of it, but I now have $80,000 worth of material on me today and said, hey, I know we have this signed contract. We're not going to pay out on it.
I'm still waiting for you to say who's to blame.
And unless they lift this pause on payment, I'm going to lose this farm. The reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program is funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders,
Whose executive order did this?
there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward. Multiple farms are going to sink if we don't get traction on this and get those funds unfrozen.
It is weird how you never say who's to blame. But, considering the EQIP program was part of the Inflation Reduction Act, and that was brought to us by Biden, and now it's been halted by someone who said throughout the campaign that they wanted to terminate the IRA, I think it's important you say who fucking did it. Because there is one specific administration who's trying to screw you out of that money. And newsflash, it's not the last one. And while, of course, I don't know exactly who you voted for, the fact that you don't actually say who's to blame for this says a lot. And I don't want anyone to lose their livelihood. That's why we've tried to warn you over and over and over again that this is exactly what would happen. Oh, and it might surprise you to know that it's not that they don't have the money to pay you. They just don't want you to have it.
Do you know why I really don't give a shit about these farmers that voted for Trump and now they're all up in arms? See, I am from Jamaica. I know how to till the earth and plant whatever shit I need to eat. But if that doesn't work, me know how to make dumpling. I know how to cook yam. Me know how to use the littlest of ingredients to make food, because that was passed down by slavery in Jamaica. So me not worry about any of this madman and this orange piece of shit and what he's doing. So I suggest that you people learn how to make dumpling, how to fry breadfruit, and all of the things that the slavery people had to do to survive. That's what I suggest you do.
I need your help to save my farm and many other farms. So the reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward.
The sheer audacity of this man to sit here and beg us to help him save his farm when he voted for Donald Trump, and a direct consequence of voting for Donald Trump has him losing his whole fucking farm because contracts he had were funded by the Inflation Reduction Act, and now because of executive orders from Donald Trump, it's now gone. And I'm just like, wait. So I went to his account, and for one, I'm going to point out this video he posted. He said, Kamala Harris, please don't take my cows. How ironic, how iconic. But to further this, he made this follow-up video where he was basically excusing Donald Trump and excusing like his vote for Donald Trump. So I don't feel bad for you. None of the viewers who are watching this video, man, none of us feel bad for you. If you know that Donald Trump is the reason why you're losing your farm and you're still excusing his behavior, FAFO, I'll buy it. I'll buy your goddamn farm. We'll all pitch in money to buy that goddamn farm because I'm sorry, we'll take it for ourselves. You don't deserve it. I'm sorry. Like, I'm gonna be serious with you. If you cannot see that your vote is like the cause of your, I mean, you do. That's the problem, is he sees that his vote is his issue. And he still is excusing Donald Trump. So FAFO, you deserve to lose the farm. Anyways, my name is Mercedes Chandler. Give me a follow or you won't see my face again. Thank you. Goodbye.
Did y'all see that farmer that voted for Trump that's now about to lose his farm because of Trump? Even though Kamala was the one who passed the bill to give him the money that he needed for his farm in the first place. Now he's on TikTok begging for us to help him keep his farm, and he's going to say, oh, it's not supposed to be an us versus us. It's supposed to be us versus them. Us. Then he going to say, oh, it's corrupted on both sides of the aisle. It's all about money. So you thought the felon who was impeached was in the pockets of billionaires, had dozens of cases out against him. You thought he was the less corrupt.
This is all I got from this video. And the fact that everybody is always asking for unity is just really crazy. I am not going to lie to you. The fact that everybody wakes up and say that they want you to come and unite with them. You and who? I hope people are not calling black people, because black people are the only, because they feel like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know, some people are really very selfish and very self-centered. And that is something they cannot deny. And see how some people are also very proud, because he is really a very proud person. So instead of trying to divide or accuse and all that, that the best we can do is to come to you and who? We who? We? You mean French? Woo! Okay, now let me really dissect this a little bit. He is actually calling for unity. Why? Because he cannot get the fund that he wants or that is needed for him to continue with his businesses, with his farming project. So let's assume that he actually voted for this man, right? And the project started booming, right? Because he was able to get the funds. Will this man come back to tell you to come, let's look for a way to unite? Okay, now let me make it make sense, right? Because it looks like it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Now let's assume that the way this man is now the president, and there is police brutality happening to people that look like me, or maybe to minority groups, not black people. And the project he started, which is the farming project, he was able to get funds for his farming project, right? And we'll start, let's say black people start, or other people start calling for unity to stop police brutality. Do you think this man would ever come out to help stop police brutality, or probably step out to protest against police brutality? The answer is absolutely no. I do not need anybody to answer it for me. He would never come out to protest. And I think this is the answer that you are waiting for, because I am not sure that I know a lot or I have something more to say, but they will never come out. See, one thing that I am enjoying, I'm not enjoying what it's going on, but one thing that I can tell you so far that I love with everything going on is the fact that it hits immediately. Like with everything going, it's just January and this is February. It also started from the inauguration. Everybody started getting the whoop, right? I mean, he is whipping everybody badly, and they are seeing the mistake. Let's assume that they had, I mean, like the regime waited till like middle of this year or next year to start acting out. They will be like, well, he was a good person. We will just ignore the rest and continue. But he started early, and we don't. Nobody knows how long this is gonna last. And the only thing I can tell this man is sorrow prayers. Anyway, if you start a GoFundMe, I don't know who is going to repost that or going to give him money. Maybe people that are also affected like him, but no. These people do not need mercy. Why? Because I am not sure that they will never show you mercy if you need it. Because if these people wanted something good for themselves and for every other person, right, they would not have voted for who they voted for. This is just where I am going to draw the curtain. Anybody, if you have ear here, if you do not have ear, it's okay. But I am leaving it at this. Bye for now.